So I wanted to create a video on doing some basic like web scraping of news. I personally like to get a general sense of like what's going on in the world and as well as the business world like early in the morning. Especially if you're like picking stocks and stuff, you definitely want to see what's important and what's going on. So New York Times I think is a great source, right? So in the business section, typically every morning you have these like articles, and they're gonna give you like an article with the headline, and sometimes it gives you like kind of what's important. A lot of times you could determine what's going on just from looking at the headlines, right? So what I want to do, I just want to get these headlines and put them into like, just print them out and just read them real quick to see what's going on. So one thing I notice a problem with is like if you go down sometimes you might only get a few articles. So I wanted to like scrape more than just the basic amount of articles. I wanted to get more. So I can't use like, there's a popular package, it's called Beautiful Soup, and it does pull like the basic HTML, but like sometimes when you need like more advanced features, you need a more advanced Python library, and that Python library is Selenium. So what you want to first do is copy pip install if you don't have it already done. Go over to your Jupyter notebook or your CMD line, and you can pip install this package. So once it's installed, Selenium has some very good documentation on here, so you can like read up on like the API and so forth. So the second thing you're going to need is Selenium requires a WebDriver, and depending on your IE, your browser, you're going to need to download this, whatever browser you use, right? So I use Firefox. So I'm going to click on Firefox, but before we do that, if you're using Chrome, you're going to need to know what specific version you're using. So if you go to like your settings, and I know this is similar in Chrome because I've used it quite a bit, you just go down to like About Chrome at the bottom, and it's going to give you this version number. You're going to have to use that, at least for Chrome. But Firefox is pretty straightforward. You just go to Firefox and you can download whatever package you're using. I'm on a Windows machine, so it's going to be WinZip 64. Okay. So once you download that, it's going to be in your download sections or wherever. You're going to need to see, as you can see, this isn't a zipped, so you're going to want to unzip that, right? You're going to want to unzip that, and there's an exe file in there. You're going to want to pull that exe file out, and you can leave the exe file wherever, but you're going to need to know the location of that exe file, right? And I'll show you in a minute why you're going to need that. So you're going to first need to import some packages, and make sure your everything's installed. Your pip is installed. Your Selenium is installed. It's going to say something different if you haven't had Selenium installed yet. So it might say something different than that. So first, you're going to want to from Selenium, you're going to want to import the WebDriver library. And you're going to have to bring in I'm going to copy this because we're actually going to use this a couple times. And so these common keys, they're going to help me when I want to click something. Then you're going to need and when you see that, I'm just hitting tab because I actually don't remember all the packages. I need support .ui import web and I'm going to rename this expected condition as EC. So this is a common theme within Python. And then also from the time package, I'm going to import sleep. So the reason you're going to want to import sleep, and you could, to each his own. I like to use sleep because when you're doing this, they could blackball your IP address. So if you're hitting their web page a lot, they're gonna. It's not likely gonna happen, but anyways. So go back over to your New York Times, and in the address, just use search, and so you can go to any section you want. You're gonna go to world. In this particular case, I'm going to do business, and you can also pick the specific dates and what you're looking for, right? So I'm going to copy this URL. So once I have that copied, I'm going to start to build out my web scraper. So I'm going to save my web scraper in a variable called driver, and WebDriver dot, and I'm using Firefox. So you have a lot of options down here, right? So just pick the one you want. If you're using Chrome, which is very popular, that's the one I would choose. So I'm using Firefox. Okay, so in here, this is where you're gonna want to post the location of where you downloaded that out. If you have it in your downloads, you're gonna, username, go over to your downloads, user, downloads, and then in that you're gonna need to unzip that file. So it's gonna be an exe file, right? So that will be the extension name on it, right? So something like that, right? Driver.exe. You need to point to that, right? That's very important. Okay. Or you could take that exe file and put it into your local location of your Jupyter notebook. Once you do that, it'll run because it looks for that package, right? So however you want to do that, you need to make sure you put that, you need to point that to that exe file. So then I'm going to get the URL, right? And I'm going to do what you'll notice is there's other packages like Beautiful Soup out there, which is really cool, but Beautiful Soup is not interactive, so you can't click on any buttons. What I want to do, I want to click on this Show More button, right? So I want to get more than just one page of headlines, right? So I'm going to do a for loop. So I'm going to click on that button 5 times, right? And I need to build a button function because I want to click on that button, right? So this is why you need this WebDriver wait right here. This is very important. There's going to be other ways that you'll see like online and stuff that you can build these like web scrapers out, but you want this. So essentially what this does is this waits 10 seconds for the up to 10 seconds for the page to load, because when you're running code, you'll notice sometimes that a code goes top to bottom and it doesn't stop, right? So that's why also sometimes you want that sleep function, right? Because with the sleep function, right, it can sleep for like 1 second, right? And let me just show you like how important sleep function is. Like, okay. Is that not right? Oh, yeah, I need to import it first. Sometimes the basic stuff is the hardest, right? So it's sleeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what this does is this is like a human being. You're clicking on pages. You can't, sometimes you don't want to, you don't want to set off any red flags sometimes when you're like web scraping or doing whatever you're doing. So human interaction is gonna, like human, it takes a second for us to click a page. So sleep function is very important, right? Because you essentially want to load this page, then you want to sleep for like 10, you want your computer to stop for like 10 seconds before it clicks that button, right? And this is essentially what it's doing. I always like to use the sleep function for a bunch of things. So this is our EC, this is our expected conditions. It's just renamed as EC, so that's why I renamed it, so I don't have to type that out, right? And elements to be clickable, and so this is just basic HTML, right? But in order for me to click this button, I need to find this button. So you're going to want to go into the inspect, okay? And you could do it a variety of different ways, right? So this can work for a multitude of things. So you're just right-clicking inspect, and then you're going to want to right-click again, and then you can like look for like copy the XPath, right? Right. So once you have the XPath, because you need to find that XPath to hit the button, right? Or you could search by sometimes the text, right? So the text is show more, right? You could do this a variety of different ways. But in my case, I'm going to use by the XPath. And even though so every time I click that button, some of these variables are going to change, right? So this might change to, after the next click, it might be 3. This might be 2, 3, 4. So it sequentially goes up sometimes. So you can use like little shortcuts, so you don't have to particularly name the correct path like that. So there's a lot of documentation on it if you want to look it up. So all I'm doing is looking for the show more button, right? And this, like, wherever it sees a show more button, it's gonna click now, right? I don't have to keep on pasting this path out, like, because these change and I'm not gonna know all the paths, right? So once I find that, I'm gonna click that button, right? And then I'm going to sleep for a second, because as I said, I want this to be what naturally we would do, right? So this is going to be in a tree structure, right? So how to find like the headlines and stuff. So let me just show you again, right? I'm right clicking, I'm inspecting, and then this is the tag I'm looking for, H4, right? And then I'm looking for the text inside that, right? So it's kind of like a tree structure. It's just like top to bottom, right? So I'm gonna have driver.find, and I'm gonna find it by tag name, and I'm just hitting tab. And I explained that a little bit in my other video. Like, that's why it's so important to have IntelliSense, because it makes it easier to like figure it out. All right. So now I'm gonna loop through all the elements in that tag, right, and print them out, right? So it's an element, and then I need the tag. I need the text inside that element, right? Okay. And then I'm going to close my driver. So you need to make sure you close this. Okay? Now let's see if this works. Oh, this is what it's doing, by the way. So it's going in here. And it didn't find this button, apparently. So I did that XPath wrong. So let's see. Text. Show more. That looks right. Let me write this out in thing. Oh, EC. Oh, that's why. So yeah, it's always good to look at the errors. so I just put lowercase c instead of so Python's sensitive when it comes to spelling everything correctly. And elements to be clickable. EC elements to be clickable. Oh, so if you want to see what this is doing. So all it's doing is finding that show more button and clicking on it. So now I have all the list of elements. It's not literable. Yeah, it is. Why is it not? Why is it not allowing me to put tag name driver? So I clicked. I'm getting the text out of the literable. So every time you do this, it's going to open up a new page. So you can always just close these pages after you're done, right? And there's also like an option to like do windowless. There we go. So now what you can do is just read through like all the articles real quick, right? And if you find anything interesting, right, you can just type it in your search bar. Holly Beauty Design. So this is gonna have some kind of impact. So they're always trying to get you to sign up with something. If you want to go around this, you can use like a beautiful soup package and just pull the text out, right? So that's pretty much the video. If you got any questions or anything, leave me a comment below. If you want to see any other videos or anything, you can always leave me a comment down below. Please like, please subscribe. I'll come out with more videos shortly. Thanks.